Cette matinée va se terminer par le thème majeur de la journée, c'est-à-dire aussi l'innovation. L'innovation, on dit souvent que Japon rime avec innovation. Et pour l'illustrer, j'ai vraiment le grand plaisir d'accueillir Monsieur Ichiro Aoyagi, qui va venir nous présenter en traduction simultanée. Alors, ça ne va pas être du japonais au français, mais de l'anglais en français, puisqu'on a la chance d'avoir quelqu'un qui parle très bien anglais. Donc, si vous comprenez l'anglais, ne prenez pas des casques. Mais sinon, on a des casques à votre disposition, qui va avoir le plaisir de nous faire voyager pendant 20 minutes au sein de la culture japonaise et de tout ce qui tourne autour de l'innovation. Vous allez voir des choses absolument incroyables que vous ne saviez même pas qu'elles existaient. Et c'est vraiment un très grand plaisir d'avoir M. Aoyagi sur scène qui va nous expliquer tout ça. Merci de l'applaudir.
Thank you, Daphne.
Thank you.
Thank you. So, ladies and gentlemen, first of all, I'm really pleased and honored to celebrate the 80th anniversary of Fujitsu here in France, in Paris, the most beautiful place in the world. All right, so let's start. Oops. Okay, innovation from Japan. So before I start, may I ask you one question? So today, our president in France mentioned you about some sumos, sushis, mangas, a little bit of flavor about Japan. Any of you familiar of different aspects of Japan? I mean, reasonably. How many of you would say, I'm reasonably comfortable to say, I know Japan? Could you raise your hands? Pas mal, but honestly, a little bit less. So let me give you a quick look of what Japan is. So we got a lot of fun stuff, sushi, yes, sumo, yes, but frequently we got a little bit of earthquakes, someone might acknowledge. We're also facing an aging society. Fortunately, we're seeing that by the year 2030, almost 37% of Japanese population is going to be above 60. Wow, that's kind of incredible. Again, the beautiful scenery of Mount Fuji, so anyone, welcome to Japan. Enjoy your sceneries. Here in France, we got TGVs, but we also got our bullet trains, so it might be interesting for you to compare, which is better. We also have magnificence in the manufacturing industry, which constructed our view on manufacturing excellency. And another bit is we also have a beautiful shrine. So those who are interested in historical architects, Japan is the place to go. But this is not all about Japan. We're also about innovations. So historically, in our DNA, Japan has been incubating innovation through the pursuit for excellence. Pursuit for excellence in two fields. One, technology itself, and two, the operational excellency. Technology excellency, we meant to develop the likes of robots and small gadgets, and operational excellency led to the concept which we call Kaizen. Translation in English is continuous improvement. And that thus improved the manufacturing process and led our automotive industry to become one of the leading industry in the world. Now, having said that, today's 20 minutes is to lead you through a bit of what is happening today in the Japanese innovation sites. So, oh, by the way, I shouldn't have forgotten this. 2020, Tokyo is hosting the next Olympics, and thus, we also see 4 areas of possible innovation by the year 2020, so 5 years from now. Tourism, public infrastructure, public safety, and cybersecurity. So those 4 are the segments that are fostered by the government and the private sector. And we are seeing that there's going to be an innovation and breakthrough in these 4 areas by the year 2020. So, what's happening now? Let's open the window to Japan. Let's start out with preventive activity for the natural disasters. As you might recall, back in 2011, Japan faced a serious, tremendous national disaster, the earthquake in Fukushima. Now, that was a disaster. We learned from it. And now, we are now in the progress of putting into a lot of measure that we could be prepared for such a natural disasters. So we cannot prevent natural disasters, unfortunately, but we can prepare. So how we do that is through city design and also a solid evacuation program. It wasn't in place, unfortunately, in the year 2011, but today, with the research that is done by Tohoku University and cesse, we are able to simulate utilizing a variety of historical data and also the real-time data of geographic sensors that Japan has been putting all over the coast in potential plates in the Japanese island. So the animation that I just showed you is one of the latest simulations done by the Tohoku University, and you see those red graphics on the coast. It's frightening, but as it goes red, it says that the tsunami could be at the height of 4 meters high. And 4 meters high tsunami is going to be a huge stuff. Now, knowing that, we can now redesign the city and ensure that there's no habitation in these red districts. And this is now put in place, and now Japan is preparing for any of the new tsunamis coming out at the later stage of Japan. And by the way, this simulation is powered by Fujitsu supercomputer. Let's go to the next example. So automotive. In Japan, as in the rest of the world, green society, sustainability is a huge stuff. And one of that is, of course, automotive. Now, we foresee that fuel cell vehicles is the next dream source. For example, with the other energy sources, there is more impact on the CO2 or the carbon. So there is some sort of a greenhouse effect, like it or not. Now, the FCV, or the fuel cell vehicles, utilize hydrogen, so it is said that this could be the cleanest energy to source driving experiences. Now, it was always a dream, but back in 2014, so just last December, Toyota introduced Mirai, the fuel cell, so it's not in presentations, it's now driving in Japan. But of course, in introducing new concept or new technologies, there is some challenges. So how do we develop the infrastructure? Meaning, fuel cell vehicles need hydrogen stations, and there's not that lot at this stage of time because we need to promote. But this is commercial, so how do we kind of fill the gap? So Toyota was clever, and also with the Japanese infrastructure industry, we have designed a hydrogen station data management service where maps up all the hydrogen supplier and station informations and informs directly to the drivers through car navigation and smartphone applications. This hydrogen station is not only a fixed station, but because this is at the verge of emergence of the industry, there are other mobile stations as well. So this kind of information system is pretty critical or important at this stage of time of technology diffusion. And by the way, this hydrogen station data management service is also powered by Fujitsu platform, cloud platform, and supporting Toyota system. And thirdly, there's another social issue, which is the foods. There's a statistic showing that by the year 2030, in the entire world, we lack or we need to improve 50% of production improvement in order to supply the whole population by the year 2030. So having said that, reverse converting, Japan also has its own challenge to supply and produce decent amount of foods and agriculture to host our population and the nearby countries. So what we do is currently in the stage of redesigning the agriculture utilizing ICTs. So here's an example of smart agriculture project in Iwata City. So this is an interesting project where 20 companies starting from agriculture and productions, retails, R&Ds, all combine together and develop a new way of smart agriculture. So this project is hosting a 19,000 meters greenhouse, which is a massive. If I recall, I think this is like 10 times of Stade de France. So 10 Stade de France, big, isn't it? So here, it's going to be fully computerized and develop a vast amount of quality agriculture in an efficient manner. And again, by the way, this cloud is hosted by Fujitsu. And
Equipment in the field speaks to us every day. The messages can only be understood by experienced experts. Smell, color, sound, vibration, heat. Experts receive each of these messages through their 5 senses. Different pieces of equipment continuously communicate how they are working. These messages, live know-how from the field, are collected and organized per customer at the Water Business Cloud Center. Information is curated at data centers and fed back to the field as knowledge. More advanced analysis is realized through collaboration with universities and laboratories. Open data made available to local communities continuously supports our daily lives. Smart Field Service realizes a sustainable water environment, which is what we aspire for. Aspiration crosses from our generation to the next.
So this was an example of a company named Metawater. It's the leading water infrastructure maintenance company in Japan with 25% market share, which is good. Interestingly, most of the water maintenance engineer was solid expert, artisan, if I may say. So these guys had their expert in themselves, and it was really difficult to transfer over to the next generation, and it did not happen. That's why the gentleman here was expert, isn't it? It looks like expert. So together with the ICT, this example shows you that there's a new way of transferring the knowledge and the operation to the next generation in a more reliable and easier manner. I think this is a very good example of how Japan has to turn out because of facing the silver aging or the aging generations, because a lot of knowledge needs to be transferred to the next generations. And interestingly, the Metawater that is described here was 25% of market share. With such initiative, they're planning to grow further and reach a market share of 50% by the year 2017. So a high challenge, but we believe that it's achievable. And again, by the way, this technology is fostered by Fujitsu technology as well. So I've been showing you a couple of examples of Japanese innovations. Now, I think you understood that Fujitsu is always supporting them in the backyard, enabling technologies. But actually, technology by itself does not have a meaning, and it's always becomes an innovation once it's combined with the industrial or the vertical expertise that actually you are the expertise of. To foster your imagination, let me show you a couple of other technologies that now it's coming out in the market from our company. So this one, the favorite one, I think Benjamin has introduced to you. Some of you might touch it in the demo. Actually, this is not only a prototyping. Back in last month, it was commercialized, and now the teenager is playing around with Iris smartphones back in Japan. Interesting, isn't it? And also, to level up the generation or the security and safety aspect, we are now incorporating our knowledge that we have accumulated in the smartphones and IoT and develop some safety devices and services that can monitor the workforces that are in rather, let's say, could be a dangerous places. So what it does is it combines the information that captures the vital data and also the environment, humidity, temperature, so forth. And if there's a risk of heart stroke or whatsoever, it will immediately alert so that this individual would be put in a safe place and ensure that the management, the workforce management, would allocate the work resources in a safer and comfortable manner. So these are actually what is happening in Japan and the innovations that is now in place in Japan. Utilizing a couple of bits more time, let me share you, utilizing this opportunity, what's coming next. So as I mentioned before, technology by itself is not an innovation, but sometimes the technology innovations might inspire you to come out with a new solution on your own. So I think it's worthwhile to share a little bit of what's coming out lately from our R&D department. So let's start it out. So the first one is a new interface device. So this one is a ring-type input devices that comes with a sensor, and you write it down on your air, and it will be your interface for any digital world. Interestingly, there's a Chinese character there, which is the first character to the name Fujitsu, but it detects these kind of complex Chinese characters as well. And if you think about numeric inputs, like digital 1, 2, and 3, this air handwriting accuracy, the recognition accuracy is already 95%. So it's close. And by the way, it weighs less than 10 grams. So let's see if our R&D department can put more effort and come out to actual solutions. We're also seeking for technologies that will aid the aging society, or the ones who have a longer life period. Visual effect is one thing that we all start to suffer starting from around age of 50, depending on individuals. What we have designed here is not another head-mount display, but a totally different angle to provide or aid those the ones that are suffering from visuals from a totally different angle. What it does is display it right into your eyes, retina. Utilizing, but no panic, it utilizes quite a safe laser, RGB, traditional, no harm. And what it does is, unfortunately, I don't have the demo, so I need to use presentation, but the ones that have this level of visuals, hey, doesn't show up. Okay, strange, but it was supposed to show how it looks, and that kind of tells me that I need to bring this device next year so that I can prove that I'm not telling you the imagination. By the way, how it works is that there is a camera on the middle of two glasses, and that kind of shoots the image, and then the laser shooter in the upper head of the glasses will shoot the image directly into retina. So for the visually impaired, they'll have visions just as clear as they used to be, or the younger generations. But unfortunately, this is still in R&D, so don't be too excited, because it's not going to be in the market in the next couple of years. We're also working on how to make inspections and infrastructure maintenance easier. For that, we have developed a program and a solution utilizing a drone. So there's a drone out there with two cycles, which does this. So interestingly, what it does is that this technology is a drone that goes to like the pillars of any bridges where it's very difficult to detect or inspect, or high costly to inspect. Takes out the video shooting in a high resolutions, automatically converts it into 3D CAD system, and assess the aging impact of the pillars and what is the crack level of the pillars. This is very important in Japan because most of the bridges built in Japan was during the, let's say, the rapid economics growth period, so during the 1960s, 70s. So again, it's a long time. Now it's time to maintenance, but maintenance and inspecting the bridges and national infrastructure is high costly. You need manual labors, and sometimes if you want to pull up person to that level, you need a specific vehicle or construction mechanics, which is a lot. Now with drone and CAD technology, it could be improved. Again, this is still out of R&D. Let's see how it goes. And the favorite IoT topics. As I showed you in the example before, there's more and more sensors coming out to detect people's movements, vital signs, environments, their behaviors, and so forth. So what it does is, again, Japan is facing aging society. We lack labor forces, and the ones that we have, we want to make sure that they are safe and in good shape and comfortably working in whatever situation. So with this kind of sensors and assessing solutions, we aim to design a system where we can monitor and keep the workforce in a safe manner in any sites possible, be it a mining site, factory, or whatsoever. Now, there are a lot of technologies behind it, and it's yet to come, but we're close. We're close up there. So I think that was a quite brief talk on the Japanese innovations. And as I said before, these technologies are technology by itself. But now, combined with your knowledge and expertise, I believe that we can provide more impact to society and make more business. So I would like to finish up saying that please take the rest of the day to discover the capability of Fujitsu, and we'll be pleased to be your business partner and shape tomorrow with you. Thank you very much.